Single dads learn to live with loneliness the way sailors learn to live with storms. They stop fighting it. They just keep moving forward, hoping the next sunrise will be kinder than the last. Ethan Carter knew that feeling better than anyone. At 36, he spent his mornings driving his 8-year-old daughter Lily to school, his afternoons repairing heating systems across Chicago, and his evenings helping with homework at their tiny apartment. Life wasn't glamorous, but Lily smiled every day, and for Ethan, that was enough. At least, that's what he told himself. One rainy Thursday afternoon, Ethan stopped by a local restaurant to fix a broken kitchen ventilation unit. The place was called the Garden Table. It wasn't one of those fancy celebrity restaurants. It was warm, welcoming, and always packed with families. The owner and head chef was a woman named Ava Bennett. Ethan noticed her immediately. Not because she was beautiful, though she certainly was. It was because she treated everyone with kindness. She thanked every dishwasher by name. She carried boxes when employees struggled. She even handed free meals to homeless people who came to the back door. Most restaurant owners wouldn't have noticed them. Ava always did. Need anything else? She asked Ethan after he finished the repair. He shook his head. Everything's working. She smiled. Then at least let me feed you before you leave. He tried refusing. She insisted. 20 minutes later, Ethan was eating the best chicken pot pie he'd ever tasted. That became the beginning of an unexpected friendship. Every few weeks, something in the restaurant needed fixing. Sometimes it was a freezer, sometimes a sink, sometimes a stubborn electrical outlet. Ethan always answered the call. And every time he visited, Ava made sure he left with a meal. Over the months, they learned pieces of each other's stories. Ava had built the restaurant from nothing after years of working double shifts. Ethan had lost his wife Sarah to cancer 6 years earlier. Neither spoke much about pain, but somehow they understood it in each other. Then everything changed. It started with a video. One customer uploaded a 15-second clip online. The video showed Ava yelling at an elderly woman near the restaurant entrance. Within hours it spread everywhere. The caption read, "Restaurant owner humiliates elderly customer." Millions watched, thousands commented. Most never questioned what really happened. They simply judged. The internet had already decided Ava was guilty. Reservations vanished overnight. Customers cancelled events. Food bloggers attacked her. Local news stations repeated the story. The restaurant that had taken 10 years to build began collapsing in less than a week. Ethan saw the video while waiting for a service call. His stomach tightened. Something felt wrong. The Ava he knew would never treat someone cruelly. Never. So instead of believing strangers online, he drove to the restaurant. Inside, the dining room was nearly empty. Ava stood alone behind the counter. For the first time since he'd met her, she looked defeated. Dark circles sat beneath her eyes. Her smile was gone. "You okay?" Ethan asked. She laughed bitterly. "Does it look like it?" He sat beside her. "Tell me what happened." Tears filled her eyes. "The woman in the video wasn't a customer." Ethan frowned. "What do you mean?" Ava explained. "The elderly woman had entered the restaurant screaming at employees. She accused them of stealing her purse. Staff searched everywhere. Nothing was missing. Later they discovered the purse had been left in the woman's car. But before anyone could explain, she became aggressive toward a teenage hostess. Ava stepped in to protect the girl. Someone recorded only 15 seconds of the confrontation, not the 30 minutes before it. Just enough to make Ava look like a villain. The truth never went viral. The lie did. Ethan listened quietly, then he asked one simple question. "Do you have security footage?" Ava blinked. "Yes." "Then let's show people what actually happened." For the first time all week, a spark of help appeared in her eyes. Together they reviewed hours of recordings. The footage clearly showed the elderly woman threatening employees. It showed Ava remaining calm. It showed staff trying to help. Most importantly, it showed the entire truth. But there was a problem. No one wanted to listen anymore. The internet had moved on. Truth was slower than outrage. Still, Ethan refused to quit. After work each evening, he helped Ava organize evidence. His daughter Lily joined them. Soon Lily was helping pack takeout orders and drawing cheerful signs for the nearly empty restaurant. One sign read, Kind people deserve second chances. Customers began noticing. Then something unexpected happened. A local teacher visited the restaurant. She listened to Ava's side. Then she shared the security footage online. Unlike the original clip, this video told the whole story. At first only a few hundred people watched. Then a few thousand. Then hundreds of thousands. The comments started changing. We judge too quickly. She was protecting her staff. This woman deserves an apology. Momentum grew. News stations returned. This time they covered the truth. Within days, support poured in from across the country. People traveled hours just to eat at the garden table. Business slowly returned. But the emotional damage remained. One evening after closing, Ethan found Ava sitting alone in the dining room. The lights were dim, the chairs sat upside down on tables. She looked exhausted. "Everyone says I won," she whispered. "You did." She shook her head. Number. Ethan sat beside her. She stared at the floor. "For weeks, strangers hated me." Her voice cracked. "They threatened me." Tears slipped down her cheeks. "They attacked my employees." She looked at him. "And the worst part? I started believing maybe I deserved it." Ethan's heart broke. Because he understood. Grief had once convinced him he deserved loneliness. Pain had convinced him he deserved less happiness than everyone else. Sometimes suffering tells convincing lies. He gently took her hand. "You didn't deserve any of it." Ava began crying. Not the quiet tears she'd shown before. These were deeper. The kind people carry for months before finally letting them out. Ethan stayed beside her until the tears stopped. Neither noticed how late it had become. Neither wanted the moment to end. Over the following weeks, life slowly returned to normal. The restaurant flourished again. Customers packed every table. Employees laughed. The storm had finally passed. One Friday evening, Ethan arrived after work. Lily ran ahead into the restaurant. Everyone greeted her like family. Ava emerged from the kitchen carrying a tray of desserts. She looked happier than she had in months, maybe years. After dinner, Lily excused herself to play a board game with servers in the back room. That left Ethan and Ava alone. An unusual silence settled between them. Not awkward, just meaningful. Ava took a deep breath. "Ethan? Yeah? I want to ask you something." His heart sped up unexpectedly. "Okay." She smiled nervously. "When all this happened," she looked down. "You didn't have to help me. I know. You could have believed everyone else." "I didn't." "Why?" Ethan thought carefully, then answered honestly. "Because kindness leaves evidence." Ava frowned slightly. "What does that mean?" He smiled. "It means people can fake kindness for a day, maybe even a week, but not for years." He looked around the restaurant. "Your employees love you. They trust you. The people you've helped never forgot." He squeezed her hand gently. "The internet saw 15 seconds. I saw who you really are." For a moment, Ava couldn't speak. Then tears filled her eyes again. But this time they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of relief, the kind that come when someone finally sees you clearly. A few minutes later, she reached across the table. "Ethan?" "Yeah?" Her voice was soft. "Would you stay?" He smiled. "I'm not going anywhere." She laughed. "No. I mean," a blush touched her cheeks. "I mean stay with me." The room suddenly felt very quiet. For years, Ethan had convinced himself his story was finished. That love belonged to his past. That his purpose was simply raising Lily and surviving one day at a time. But sitting across from Ava, he realized something important. Life doesn't ask permission before offering second chances. Sometimes they arrive disguised as broken ventilation systems. Sometimes they arrive through heartbreak. Sometimes they arrive through acts of kindness that expect nothing in return. Ethan looked into her eyes. The answer came easily. "Yeah," he said. "I'd like that." At that exact moment, Lily peeked around the corner. She grinned immediately. "Oh my gosh!" Both adults laughed. Lily ran over and hugged them. "Finally." "Finally what?" Ethan asked. She rolled her eyes dramatically. Everyone already knew. Even Ava laughed at that. Months later, the garden table remained one of the busiest restaurants in the city. But its greatest success wasn't the packed dining room. It was the family that had formed inside it. Ava never forgot who stood beside her when the world turned against her. Ethan never forgot the woman who reminded him his heart still had room for hope. And Lily gained something she thought she'd lost forever. Not a replacement for her mother, but another person who loved her completely. The viral lie eventually disappeared, buried beneath newer scandals and newer headlines. But the truth endured. Because truth always leaves a deeper mark than lies, especially when carried by kindness. And in a world quick to judge, 3 people discovered something far more powerful. When you choose compassion over assumptions, loyalty over convenience, and humanity over noise, you don't just save someone's reputation. Sometimes, you save their future. And sometimes, without realizing it, you save your own.